Amazing. That's
Thank
incredible.
you.
Sorry about getting.
Oh,
Welcome back, everyone, to Mood Boost on Tour. We are here in Kendal in the Lake District. We are here with lovingly Artisan Bakery.
so excited to be here. Slightly less sunny than the last Mood Boost on tour, but we are just beyond excited to be here with Katherine and Aidan from Lovingly Artisan to speak to them about their amazing award-winning sourdough.
So, for any of you guys who are new, Mood Boost on Tour is our short series where we go around interviewing small businesses who really align with our values, which is community, joy, and really just spreading their love through their work as well.
Completely that. The passion that we see in the Artisan Bakery and what Katherine and Aidan do, we just really wanted to work with them and just speak with them and hear a bit about what you've been doing over the last few decades and really pick your brains about your community, your tribe, and what you do here.
So Lovingly Artisan is based in the hub of the Lake District. We're just positioned on the outskirts of Kendal. And then we also have a really gorgeous urban bakery at Altrincham Market. So the two very differing bakeries. One is based in the countryside and the other one is having the best life in Altrincham Market. So we are a sourdough bakery primarily. It's a small family business. We have around about 50. Some of our youngest employees are 15, just in their first throes of life. So that's nice. We're nurturing them. And then we have our eldest, who's around about 73, who has no intention of retiring.
That's so cool.
Amazing. Diving right into it, because something that we're really, really big on is the community factor in everything that we do. Now, you guys like to refer to your customers as your tribe, correct?
Yeah, we do.
How does that fit into your business ethos of calling your customers your tribe?
One of Aidan's biggest missions, and it's something Aidan talks about all the time, is putting bread in the centre of the table. And our goal, our purpose, is to feed a variety.
Okay.
And we want to feed the tiny little hands to the mature hands and have something that would fit really purposefully on their plate and feed them and nourish them well. So we are privileged in the fact that we've created a business that's accessible to all. So we want to, serve people, it's a lovely word to use, that might just want to spend 60 pence. That's right for them, right for their appetite, through to somebody that wants to fill a bag and have a feast. And it's about, for us, creating a business that is capable of feeding a real variety of appetites.
I think I have to add that there is something unique about a bakery and community that actually, even now, you know how people will choose where they want to live in relation to there's a really nice bakery on that corner. You see that and you hear that in people's words now, but it genuinely has, when people, it gives a feeling of family and community when people know that they can have a beautiful bakery, they can buy that bread and they bring that bread home. There is something very, very special about that no other food business can have that same aspect and impact on a community. So I think that we acknowledge the importance of what we do has a value to the people who buy from us, and our community is quite broad. We are in a rural community, so people travel some considerable distance to get their bread, but they will come every week, they will buy the bread they need, it will go in the freezer, it will feed them for the week. Like Katherine says, it very much is about understanding that we are here to feed families. That's our job.
And I think community is such an important word. We want to hold the hand of our customer at all times. Even today, we had somebody that's been visiting the bread truck. She's been visiting us maybe now for about 5 years, but today was the first day that she announced she was a big part of the church, and her role in the church was to educate the children. And educate the children through how they ate, how they played, how they connected to a variety of ages. So we were immediately exchanging ideas. Let us help you. What can we do? Should we come and do a talk? So for Aidan and I, one of the things that I think is really important to us, and for Lovingly Artisan, is you put yourself in the community, whether that's talking at the WI, whether that's doing events through Ways to Wellness, whether that's connecting with the church, schools. we have a big heart, and a big part of what we do, one of our values, is education. And how do we, exercise that value daily, apart from training our team? And it's training people in the community, whether they're 2 years old, 5 years old, 70 years old. They've all got something they want to take home. And we have a lot of heart to give. Lovingly Artisan, we always say 2 words: lovingly. So how can you lovingly create beautiful breads, but how can you lovingly cherish those that choose you? And that's a real honour. And then Artisan is about handcrafted, being involved, hands in the business, and that's something that's really important to us.
That's fantastic.
That second part about artisan and handcrafted, Aidan, I wanted to ask you specifically, being the award-winning baker that you are, something that we are always trying to focus on with what we're doing is just slowing down and being present, and trying to just take a stock take at all times and be really in the moment with everything that we're doing. I think, speaking a bit, let's say poetically, the nature of sourdough is it takes time, it takes patience. I guess, is that something that resonates with you in terms of your practice?
In every way. It's funny that you're here speaking to us today. We just returned yesterday from our farm, our farmer in the northeast, just at Stamfordham, just north of Hadrian's Wall, an organic farm, Gilchester Farm. And we stood there amongst these fields of long straw wheat, long straw, einkorn, emmer, rye, crops that are in the field for us this year. There's a particular field of wheat that we were stood by this year that Andrew, the farmer there, has been growing from a simple bag of seeds for the last 7 years. He's been building that crop into a meaningful crop that's in the field. 7 years
That's
he's
so
worked on
cool.
that crop. And we understand the value of that. He's been growing this particular field of wheat for us for that time. And this year we will get to harvest that grain. We've just finished our own flour mill. So we built our own flour mill earlier this year with Andrew's help, who is also a miller. We got the stones made in Germany. We had the mill fabricated in Copenhagen, and we've installed that close to the bakery just outside Kendal, and we can mill nearly 3 tons of flour a day.
Wow.
So it's a serious flour mill, not a sort of a game. But for us, we were joining all the dots. So we're acquiring this grain that has been beautifully nurtured, long straw heritage grain, grown organically in Northumbria. We then mill that ourselves in a mill that is our son is training to be the miller. That everything about stone milling is about slowness, about control, about feel and touch. And then when that flour comes into the bakery, the whole process in a sourdough bakery is totally different. The rhythm is slower. We work 24 hours a day, but we work 24 hours a day because the bread actually takes that long to make. From start to finish, it takes a minimum of 24 hours. From when we mix our sourdough starter, which is nearly 35 years old now, with that flour that we've milled and we've had a hand in growing, and then 24 hours later we bake the bread, knowing that it's fermented properly, it's broke down all of the protein, and ultimately all of the nutrients that were in that field and in that grain we deliver to the customer. So the bread that's on the shelf that they eat gives them all of the nutrients, and because of the sourdough fermentation process, all of those nutrients are bioavailable to them. So
cool.
That's when Katherine said earlier about us making bread that's fit to be at the center of the table. We aim to produce bread as it has been for thousands of years. The modern bread industry has only existed for 100, 150 years. Before that, it was all sourdough. Before that, it was a staple of life. It's only the modern food industry that's changed that. And actually, the value of bread and its full nutrition is incredible. It is a superfood, but people have forgotten. And that's what it's so clear to us what our purpose is and what our objective is and how important it is. And that's how it's so important. We're such a significant part of the community. So slow is what we're all about, but we're slow because we're giving people everything back.
Wow.
It's so extremely fulfilling and rewarding when you put all of that craft and energy and just the love and all of that energy that goes into it. The reward is so much more fulfilling, right? I think
I think it is for us as well. It's something that we treasure about our day. We get up, each morning, and you both can probably relate to this, we do our affirmations.
Yeah,
We
amazing.
plan our
Intentions.
minds. We do our intentions of the day. We prepare ourselves for the day. When you work alongside a variety of people, you also want to serve them as well. So I feel each morning we are preparing ourselves not just for the day, but preparing ourselves for the team. You know, how are we going to nurture them? What do they need? We work with really inspiring people, and we want to be the best for them, the best for the customers. So we write our 3 wishes of the day. We get ourselves ready for the day. And that is a slow 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter that you've got up, say, for example, today at 3 o'clock in the morning. That treasured slow time is something that is so undervalued. I think taking it slow, pausing with the business. And whenever we're developing the business, we'll start to develop something and then we regroup.
Yeah.
How does it feel? How does everybody feel? Are we all settled in? And then we'll grow again.
Yeah.
And with the mill, we've been on an enormous learning curve. We feel like we've just started again. It's like a new job, a new life,
That's so
a new way of
exciting.
living. And so for us, this is our learning decade, isn't it? Really learning how to use such a treasured grain, a really key ingredient that a farmer and, you know, these incredible people that work the land have created for us, and now we have to honour that and create that for the customer.
Wow.
It's a big job, isn't it?
It's a privilege. The mill is not a normal thing. There are, there are some bakers around the country who have small mills, but we've produced a mill where we can mill in anger, where we can mill and produce for our community. We could, if we needed to, we could actually produce every week. We could produce 30 to 40,000 loaves of bread for our community. We could feed our community. Not only that, we've made sure that actually the bakery, we can go off grid completely. So we have generators, we have our ovens are wood fired, we can, and now that we're growing our own, milling our own, we can go completely off grid.
So
and we're
nice.
staying independent and making sure that we provide that food security for our community. It's just down to us, not anybody else. We're not putting our hand out to anybody else. We're just making it work here for us. And that's what's important.
That's incredible. That is absolutely, yeah, fantastic. I mean, that's exactly what we always speak about. Oh, there's some rain there. Yeah, no, that's literally what we always speak about. It's just, being solo, being on your own, but also providing for everyone else as well. It's such a rewarding feeling, I imagine.
Yes.
And I think there's something about, and you probably both feel the same, about having something you do every day that doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
I can tell, looking at both of you, how passionate you are about what you're doing. I can tell how passionate you are about what you're achieving. You can really feel that from both of you. And I think being a baker or a jewellery designer or an artist is very, very similar, that neither one of us has a job.
Yeah.
We have something we do that we're passionate about. Yeah. And when people say to us, "Oh, what's your retirement plan?" We're like, "We don't understand your language." What do you mean?
Can't relate.
And we can't relate. Yeah,
work and play blend.
Yeah, we're like, this is not a job. It's like if you were an amazing, musician or artist, somebody like Vermeer or Moe, they wouldn't have said, "What's my retirement plan?" They'd have said, "Where's my next canvas? Sit me in a view. I want to paint that view." And we're the same. Where is our next crop? Let's sit us in the field and we'll prepare the next loaves. It's exactly the same. We don't want to stop.
I think that's also what I noticed in what you were saying is we're in our decade of development or decade of learning.
Yeah.
Because it's such a clear passion for you as a family. You don't want to just stagnate or do the same thing over and over again. You're constantly wanting to develop and learn and all those things. And it just resonates, shines through, I think.
I think having the freedom as well. One of the things that comes with age and experience is knowledge. And actually, we want to use that knowledge now. So we have that knowledge that we've picked up over time. That from Catherine's previous business life in the photography industry, that we've combined and brought all those skills together. And now, actually, the power of those is to use those now. We have an ability to run a business. Things are a lot more instinctive, and we can move forward. And then also, because I'd said previously that we tend to follow our own path. It's actually something we're quite proud of, that we don't look to others for inspiration. We we look for ideas that fit in with our world. So we have some very significant new projects that are on the go. And one of the ones that we learned with the mill is we have the mill, and as you mill a ton of flour, off that flour, you then generate quite a significant amount of bran. Each time you mill a ton of flour, you might end up with 150, 200 kilos of bran, which essentially would normally then just be sold back for animal feed. But we've learned how to pelletize that to power our wood-fired ovens.
Incredible.
So a total circle that actually we're buying the grain, but then we're using that grain to power the ovens to bake the bread that we make from the flour. And it's that type of project, that is that type of thing that our brains can think freely enough because of the experience that we've got to see opportunities. And it's exciting. Business when it's like that is exciting, is interesting. It's not just about how can we make more money. It's about thinking. It's about this thing about standing up on our own 2 feet and supporting ourselves.
A bit of a selfish question, perhaps, but for people who are at the very sort of beginning or infancy of a business or like a career, I really like. Oh dear, it's showering. Are you okay? Are you okay?
That guy just slammed into it.
That was quite intense. Sorry about that one. What was I saying? Well, what I really like is when you say, you know, we stick to our lane and we know we're confident in what we're doing, and people are doing what they're doing elsewhere, but we know what works for us and we're confident in that. Obviously for people like us who are still in the infancy of what we're doing, it can be easy to look laterally and think, God, are we doing the right thing? Do we need to be doing more of what this person's doing? Or even from a content creation perspective, do we need to make our videos like this? I guess the question is, how do you strike that balance? Or how do you sit in that confidence?
I think the most important thing, say, for both of you as you stride forward, is you keep uniting the vision or the purpose that you have for what you're doing with Mood Booster. And, you know, one of the things we do every year is we create ourselves a vision board, and it's visuals. So how do we want the business to feel? How do we want the business to look? What do we want to be doing? What do we want to produce? So we'll do our vision board, and it's very detailed in some aspects and it's vague in others. So it's allowing creativity to flow in and being really true to yourself. And if at any time you don't enjoy an element of that bit, know you've got the power. You have the absolute power to erase that bit off. Oh, we didn't enjoy that day. Or we didn't enjoy that aspect of the business. Why is that? Is that because it's not our skill base and we need to employ somebody to do it? Or it's jarring with our values. So I've seen somebody else doing it. It looks like a great idea. But if we're honest, this isn't about mood. This isn't about community. This isn't about well-being. So it looks great. I can admire it, but this isn't our gig. And we do that when we go and research. We can look at other businesses we truly admire. We love what they're doing. It's brilliant for them, but we're not in the sugar business. So I can look at what they're doing and look at their patisserie and think, oh my God, it's like art. It's amazing. But it's not our bag. And I think that's what you have to do, because now through TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, we're all bombarded. It's like a tsunami coming at you every day of suggestions, ideas, concepts. And you just have to say to yourself, this is all beautiful, but it's not my recipe. It's not me.
I love that analogy.
I think if you stay in lane as well, if you decide this is what values is the core of the whole thing, and Katherine mentioned that. Your values are very, very important. Your integrity, you must maintain that at all, above everything. But from that, once you decide the direction you want to go and you get a feel that is the direction, if you focus on that direction, you will do that well. If you're still constantly looking for, is there an easier way? Oh, maybe we'll try this way, that way. And you lose that focus. I think focus on, this is what we are, this is who we are. Then it becomes clearer as you travel further down that, and you get better at honing that, and just gradually get better. And the other thing is, I think when you start, you want it all today. The problem is this is a life journey. We don't aspire to an end goal. It's actually enjoy the process. We enjoy the whole process every day. We're loving standing in the rain talking to you. It's just part of
It's part of the journey.
And that is the absolute joy. It's not to aim for some pot of gold that you see that's just
there.
15 years down the track and then I'm going to sit on a beach. No. That's not that. Ultimately, if you bring that everyday joy to what you do,
you're already on the beach.
That is you.
Absolutely. You're already there.
You're already
it's
there.
so funny. That is actually one of the main things that our previous people also said as well, is finding that joy in the present moment, not striving whilst you can have these future goals, is being happy and content with the process of what you're doing as well.
Yes.
And I think sometimes if you steer your business in differing directions, you try to get confused. So because you're all the time attracting, magnetizing like-minded people towards you, and if you start deviating and experimenting because it looks great on somebody else, in the end you're losing people. It might be invisible to you at the time, but you're losing your tribe, because they don't know who you are and what they're following. Whereas if you stick to your guns, even if you ever feel that, am I talking to myself, am I doing this just for me? You're not. People will watch you and people will study your business or study what you're saying or what you're doing from afar, because that's their strategy, that's how they behave, and that's absolutely okay. And then you'll have others that want to get engaged, want to get involved, want to comment, want to like, want to love you, and that's also okay and really rewarding. But you've got to talk to both of them, and all the time you're talking about your tail. What is it you do? And stay in lane, because we've said that forever, haven't we? Stay in lane.
I think a final question. Seeing the rain, I could go on for it. I really enjoy this conversation, but I know we're all getting quite wet. Joy is so important to both of you, and as you just said, Aidan, like being present in the everyday, and it's not about the end destination, it's about finding that joy in every day. From, I guess, our perspective, we're very interested in looking after ourselves and taking, physical, mental, practical steps to do that. In as much detail or as little detail as you want to go into, are there any specific steps that you two take sort of on a daily basis to make sure you're looking after yourselves in amongst all of the busyness and hurried life?
I think the morning moments we have together with our books, and paying gratitude, doing our affirmations, a little bit of journaling, and then we'll often exchange what have you written down, how can we support each other. And sometimes we do that because it might be something as simple as, tonight I'd like to have an evening walk. I'd like to have an evening walk and I'd really like to do it with you. So you're announcing that to your body and life, and we'll make that happen. We do that. And then we also have what we call quiet time on a Sunday. We are lucky. Aidan had a great idea, and that was to build a sauna. And it was a great idea. At first I was like, okay, extra room, extra bedroom. No, outside sauna. Okay,
love it.
So we built a sauna, and it's been brilliant, because on a Sunday we'll make a drink, we'll have a really nice, hot coffee whilst
I have to describe that. It's
up.
A wood-fired sauna, so it's wood-fired, and it has one big glass wall that just looks over the fields and everything.
Horizon.
So green, beautiful, blowing grass.
And we do laugh at ourselves,
bliss.
by the way. We'll actually have a discussion about, oh, what a lovely bird, or don't the trees look nice? And we're like, oh my God, who are we?
What's happened?
And then looking, nobody can hear.
So while it's warming up, so what Catherine's saying is we'll light the sauna, and then while it's warming up, we'll sit and have a coffee and everything. And then Catherine will get a bit hot, and then I'll ramp it up and load it up.
I'm like, I'm out of here. And he's like putting more on, doing his circuit. But it's giving yourself that slow time and giving yourself that time to have time out. And then the other thing that we do that keeps us sane, and we're just about to do it, is we'll take ourselves away with our books, with our, favourite baking books, with our books that are inspiring us. We'll take it all with us, load of magazines, lay it all down and think,
Do you notice something there? It's not go away, switch off, don't communicate. No, we're actually still engaged. We don't find stress in actually educating, continue to educate ourselves, continuing to move forward, find out little bits of knowledge, education, because a lot of what we talk about with this whole sourdough fermentation is so related to the gut biome, and so much of the science and the knowledge about this is new. And when we're communicating and telling stories to customers, it's about health, it's about nutrition. So we need to be aware of where things are, how people are thinking. So we're not go home, turn the phone off. Our phone is never off. And the bakery is 24 hours a day. So I might get a call at 2:00 in the morning saying, Aidan, the oven's gone out. What do we do? And it's up out of bed and into work and sort it out. But actually not trying to disconnect ourselves makes it far more relaxing than fighting to say, I want to turn off for a week. I don't want to hear about work. It's the last thing for us.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It's just finding that joy, isn't it?
Yeah. And like you said at the beginning, it's not work because it's your baby, your joy, your pleasure. So you're even when you go on your holiday, you're still learning. You're still in consuming books about how to bake, the gut biome or whatever it is. You're still growing and learning as you're relaxing.
Is to make it joyful. As you're traveling your business, we started off with the 2 of us. Now we've got 52, and we've gone through a whole, roller coaster of learns, but we constantly regroup to the joy. That's one of our values is fun. So we constantly go back to, even now, it's actually quite fun here and we're having a bit of a laugh and it's just water. And
I'm glad you said that.
No, it really is. It's funny. And they'll be laughing. The girls in the bread shop will be like, oh, look at that. That's really funny. But you have to make it funny because life can be really hard. And I think that it's really important to put certain things into your business that matter to you. And ours was definitely fun, creativity, education. It's lovely that you guys are here on a market day because as you're recording this, what you are seeing is a community travelling by, little dogs,
that's great.
people from all ages, and that's what a market is about, and that's what a bakery.
It's your tribe.
It is our tribe, and we want to feed them.
Yeah,
nice. That's incredible. Well, I think that is everything and more. But thank you so much. That is brilliant.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Really lovely to talk to
Thank you
both
so
of you.
much. Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed a little mood boost on tour.
Where can people find you online?
So we have a fabulous website and a lovely journal within that, and it's just the usual www and all of that, Lovingly Artisan, and Instagram. We share our lives like most people on Instagram, and I think the website with our journal within it is our favourite place, and Instagram is a home. And like you guys, we're just about to put our toe in the water of YouTube, of course.
How exciting!
That's something that I've wanted to do for the last fortnight, and it's just starting to take shape.
I love that.
Catherine, sorry. Catherine's pictures are extremely beautiful. So Catherine's images are worth looking at.
Definitely
Amazing.
Go and
thank
find
you
them
very
there, guys.
much.
Thank you so much, guys. Amazing. See you guys later. Bye.